love that. Like
I legit was listening to it and was just like over the tune of it, like, there's a fire starting in my heart, reaching a fever pitch and bringing me out the dark. Finally, I can see you crystal clear, reaching and all of your shit, babe.
You're gonna miss you, never have met me.
Please fall apart,
Rolling in the deep.
you're gonna wish you. That's actually a really fun game to play that we used to play in college. Is we would let a song on the radio play. We'd hit a random radio station, and you would have to sing. You'd have to change.
We could have had it all. I had to. It was coming up.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
But we used to do that in college. You would have to change like the pitch of the song and the tempo of the song to match whatever was on the radio. It's actually a super fun game if you have creative friends. But if you have boring friends, sorry, your life sucks. Get someone better in your life.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So, this movie is ridiculous. It's so much fun. We got taglines. Yeah. Like, I forgot that we had to pull up taglines. Oh God, this movie is on like a chud level for me. Like I had a blast with this movie. Like probably one of my favorites that we're going to do. Really. So I had the first tagline. Are you ready? You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Yeah. Reading, writing, and radiation. Nothing? You got nothing?
I mean, yeah, I remember it. I was like, oh.
I like it. It's cute.
Yeah.
I got a couple taglines of our own at the end of this. One more. There's only two, right? It rotted their bodies. It corrupted their minds. And that's the good news.
Oh.
Right? I'm going to tell you right now that this is going to be very difficult for me to really hate on this movie. I'm not hating it at all. I loved it.
Yeah,
because,
no, it's a great film.
Are you ready?
Oh, of course.
With the estimated budget of $2 million, and I can't seem to find a gross, one face melting by nuclear poisoning, one opening credits establishing montage, one school destruction montage, two pairs of breasts, one sex scene, one 4-foot boner dream, one mutant pregnancy dream, one mutated super teen, one fist down a punk's throat, one mutated miscarriage fetus, one huge nose ring ripout, one bloody severed hand, one kill by an assault rifle, one nuclear mutant offspring monster, one claw through a skull, one scrape of a face, one tentacle through a skull, one eyeball pop out, one head rip off, 11 mutant porcupine quills to the face, with one nuclear charge explosion, and 11 deaths.
And a really loud song during the intro.
A 5.7 on IMDb and a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's 1986's Class of Nuke 'Em High. Let's drop some bombs. Or some nukes.
Can I have your attention, please? This is not a drill. This is a nuclear emergency.
We mutated. And my wheelchair is illogically mutated too. And I think I can feel my legs.
April Fool. I got duck rape. What do we have to be afraid of?
I'm Papa, the film. This machine just called me an asshole.
Fuck you, Lucky Charms.
Sorry, that was like the perfect fade out for the song.
That's
it
why
perfectly faded out, and I was like, oh shit!
That's why I was building
really
up
excited.
to it.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. No, that was great. Yeah. That was on a level of I don't even know. So I just have to say that this movie was an absolute blast. Boom.
Yeah.
I don't know how to put it another way. Like I remember seeing this as a child, and it was always on USA Network. What's it called? Gilbert Godfrey. Gilbert Godfrey would come on and he'd be like, "It's a Class of Nuke 'Em High trilogy tonight. This is insane." God, right?
Gilbert Godfrey.
Right? My eyes are bleeding out of my skull.
Oh God.
Right? And
Godfrey.
Yeah. And he would kill it. You know, like, and he would host a lot of Troma films. So, Troma is extremely famous for being, like, the king company of B movies. Like, everything they do is over the top. It's tongue in cheek. It's not meant to be taken seriously. They know where they live in the world.
Hey.
Yes.
You're listening to Jonathan Young.
Oh my God. Yes. Oh my God. All right. So, welcome to Bombs Away.
I was like, you're forgetting everything.
I got extremely excited.
You did. He's hard under this table.
Yeah. Welcome to Bombs Away. My name is Jonathan Young. The only Nope, I did it wrong. That's how excited I am. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bombs Away, the only podcast recorded inside a projection booth. My name is Jonathan Young. Joining me in the studio, as always, is...
that nerd you really wanted to die at the start of the film, and you're really glad because I did.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, but instead he made it all the
nope,
way.
Just me,
like
Jared Seifert.
Like all the characters like that you think are going to die just don't in this movie.
I know, it's
right?
really sad.
It's very interesting, the way it took turns I was not
But
expecting.
I legitimately look like the guy that dies at the start.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is really upsetting.
that was you.
No. I was like, no, big nose and glasses, brown hair, no. And then I was like, dead. Literally, I had died in the film.
You were Dewey. His name is Dewey.
Dewey.
Aww.
Officer Doofus, let's go.
So this is the first of 3 that we're going to be doing. So if you're listening to this... Out of the 5 Nuke Em High movies, right? So we're going to be doing, and it's all in preparation for the March 8th Los Angeles premiere at the Le May.
We don't know how to say it.
Don't know how to say it. But yes, it is LAEMMLE.com.
Le May.
If you are listening to this, you on the day of release, that's this Tuesday the 6th, you still have 2 days before the premiere. We're going to be at the premiere for Return to Nuke Em High Volume 2. Many of the stars of that film, including its director and the president of Troma, Lloyd Kaufman, will be there for, I believe, Q&As and at least meet and greets. More than likely... the Toxic Avenger himself and Sergeant Kabuki Man will be there as well because they usually join Lloyd in big events like this. So get there because we're going to be there. We're going to be handing out flyers, letting people know that we did this.
Yay.
We did Return to Nuke Em High Volume 1 and 2 as well. So we're going to be releasing Return to Nuke Em High Volume 1 tomorrow if you're listening to this on the 6th, so March 7th. And then on the day of the premiere... we'll be releasing the last one. So you get 3 Troma movies all related to each other in this week. Okay? I know. It's going to be exhausting. It's fine. Don't panic,
exhausting.
Jared.
It's already exhausting.
Right?
No, I don't panic. I just wallow.
You just don't like going to these premieres.
No, I do. Well, if it's outside of my bedroom, I like if I'm paid to be eccentric and talk and be happy, like I can do that. But like if it's volunteer, I'm like, oh no, they're gonna hate me. Oh, I don't have my weird oval lump shaped name tag to let them know that I'm a kiss butt.
Yeah.
That's my safety net of saying kiss ass, and I don't know why. Because it's my and yours podcast.
I know,
it's mostly
right?
your podcast. But it's our podcast.
It's our podcast.
It's our podcast. I can say whatever I want.
Okay, so we're going to go strong on this one, guys.
Yeah.
If you are a super fan of Troma, you're going to enjoy this because everybody knows how ridiculously fun this movie is if you've ever seen it before. So... let's dive in. Let's go hard. Okay.
Sure.
So
go hard or get hard.
I know, right? So
I'm both.
As we always do, we go scene for scene, and we find things to rip on, and we also let you know what the movie is about and how it played out. Just to give new listeners out there kind of a rundown of what we do.
Throw in some fun facts, throw in some comedy, maybe let you know like what our own experience is in addition to this. Like
many tangents.
In my high school, we never had emergency evacuation drills.
Did you have a fallout shelter?
No.
I did. Yeah. But I was East Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I was in the smack dab middle of the States.
Yeah.
I'm from Missouri, so
I don't recall one in my high school, but I know there was one in my middle school. Yeah. Because, I remember watching this film and then seeing a fallout shelter in my own school and was like, I got to go down there. There might be a monster down there.
See,
Instead of being like, I should avoid it.
Yeah. My fallout shelter is basically like I have too much Chipotle and I go in the bathroom. That's a fallout shelter.
Oh, come on.
Fallout shelter.
You should get your
You
GI
just put the
fixed.
fan on and you're like, whoa.
So, and as always, for those who are listening, who might be attached to this film in some way, this is all done out of fun and love and
appreciation.
Absolutely, like
Right.
we want to let you know, as much as we're going to rip on it, we enjoyed the hell out of it. So, Lloyd, if you're listening, thank you for this gem.
Thanks,
Okay.
Lloyd.
So,
is it Lloyd or just Lloyd?
it's not like the Lego Ninjago movie, Lloyd.
Well, no, like, is it 2 L's or 1?
It is 2 L's.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
Lloyd.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lloyd.
Thanks, Lloyd. So, ready? Here we
Yeah.
go. So, welcome to Tromaville, which is in New Jersey. Now, Tromaville is powered by nuclear power, and the nuclear power plant happens to be
In the track field, basically. It's in the...
they say a quarter mile.
Yeah, that's
from
not...
it.
That's literally... It's... Okay, so the movie shows you how close it is by, like, really poorly editing in, like, a factory.
Oh, it's literally like 2 layers,
Yeah.
just like over top
It's
of
like,
one another.
we wanted them to seem close. But
Almost
it's literally,
as if-
it's just like the high schooler's detention period is to work in the factory.
Oh, yeah.
It's like how close it looks.
Well, what's interesting too is that like it actually looks like, if it wasn't for like a very small tree line, I think it looks like it's just like the factory towers are on top of the school and they're just one and the same.
Yeah,
That's how, right?
that is how
Which
it
is
looks.
interesting because in part 2, Subhumanoid Meltdown, they are one and the same. When the school like gets bulldozed, they turn it into and like kind of like a Institute of Technology college, and then all the
Okay.
students from this one go to college now. And what's interesting, see, I have this theory when it comes to Troma movies, and it comes down to the eras, right? And I watched this one, and then because for those of you listening who actually want to listen to this whole thing, what's it called? All the Troma movies are in Amazon Prime. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
I was like, Tromavision? What's happening?
yeah,
Why
no,
you,
no,
what's-
no,
your-
sorry.
Your brain is pooping right now.
No, it is. And so all the films are on Amazon Prime. So basically, when I watched Class 1, then Class 2 was like, if you like that, here's Class 2 and Class 3. And I was like, whoa! Okay, so I started watching Class 2. And what I find is interesting about the Troma series, or like the Troma library, is that like the 80s version of it is like very hardcore 80s. Like they're trying to make
yeah.
a film and have it a little bit funny and hokey and stuff like that. But then the 90s era of Troma seems to be self-aware now. More self-aware than this. Like, this doesn't feel exactly self-aware. It's aware of the world around it and how to make fun of it.
But it doesn't realize it is in a movie.
Right, because the second one starts going like, even the narrator in the beginning is like, but hey, that was then and this is now because this is a sequel, you know?
Yeah.
And then like, even in the opening scenes, the guy's like, if I live through this, I swear I won't do this. I won't watch porn anymore. I won't watch any shitty Troma movies. Like, so like they're that, and like in the guy's bedroom, it's all old Troma movie posters and stuff. So like that's the era of the 90s, I believe, is where they're like, we now like will make movies that exist outside of our own universe of previous movies, but somehow connect, right?
Yeah.
And now I think, now we haven't seen them yet, but I think these two that we're going to see, Return and Return 2, are like meta of meta. You know, they're like, they're in a whole new realm where it's like, now we're going to remake what we used to do and pull from pop culture and and reference things like nowadays. So it's like the same, but Troma keeps evolving. For as much as it's like we are this schlock B movie, 40 years in existence entity of independent film, they seem to always be evolving within their own special niche. Is that how you say it? Niche? Niche?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know.
So that's my own personal observation. So with this movie, like I said, it opens up with that, and then the power plant seems like, I don't know what's up with everybody and their plumbing in this film.
Oh, it's like the pipes are never actually joined together. It's just like they're placed together, and they're like just, that'll hold.
There you go. Yeah. Right, and it seems like that might be your first like thing that you want to check. Is to make sure everything's like just in place, and probably not just some plastic tube that can break with. I don't know how it breaks. It just kind of rumbles and shakes.
It's like vibrations slowly make it fall apart, which isn't like it wouldn't happen.
No, no. But it does in this form.
It always does.
And
it's like zooming in on like, whoa, radioactivity, to like as if you didn't know that like barrels with like whoa signs on them mean it's radioactive.
Right. So the leak that we speak of gets into the town's water supply, or specifically, I don't want to say the town because we don't focus on anything but the high school.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess it's because they're so close to next door, it gets into the high school's water supply. Now, I hate the plant manager.
Oh, the plant manager is like this circle of a human. Like... Which is also... He rolls everywhere.
That's also a trope in Troma movies, is that there's like...
trope.
A Troma trope.
A Troma trope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that there is a largely obese male of some sort.
In power.
Yeah. Yeah, because he is also the mayor and Toxic Avenger.
Mm-hmm.
So he... I believe that's right. So, anyway... the plant manager says this great line where he's like, do this and do that, and so that the EPA and the NRC and the PTA aren't on my ass. I was like, the PTA?
I know.
The Parent Teacher Association's really caring about this out there. So now we're established. We go over to the main theme song that you just heard in our intro. And boom, there it is. There's Tromaville High School, and everybody's making out with every.
Yeah, but it already seems like it's pretty well established that like this high school has been a little bit messed up by the nuclear power plant next door, because we got like the trailer tries to set it up to where it's like, oh, this power plant has ruined this high school. But it's like, it seems like the power plant has like slowly leaked into the high school.
Yes.
And so the honors society, the people that are supposed to be like the smartest of the school,
mm-hmm.
they have all become like 90s, 80s, well, like mid 80s punk rocker.
They basically saw Mad Max.
Yeah.
Like while they were smoking this nuclear weed. And was like, we should do that.
But it seems like if you smoke the nuclear weed, it comes a little bit out of you after a while, literally. But then, like, you move back onto yourself.
Well,
but it seems like
it does different things to different people.
Yeah,
right.
Inconsistency is key
in this film. Yeah.
We love to not have everything be the same always.
Right,
is what this film does.
Right. So it's. And it's established this way by a couple lines of dialogue. I think the principal mentions it. Warren, the main character, mentions it. That, yes, there's this gang of the most ridiculous Mad Max rejects I have ever seen called the Cretans.
The Cretans.
Right?
Like, oh, you're being such a Cretin.
Right.
Not really anything that's ever been, like, thought on more than 2 seconds.
Let's discuss the Cretans for a second here.
Okay. I hate them all.
Okay. So, first you have the leader, Spike.
I hate him.
Right? Spike is, like, seeing too much David Bowie. Because he's got, like, he's got the Bowie, like, red eye makeup on.
Is it Bowie?
Is it? I don't care.
I always thought it was Bowie.
Whatever. Dude, I'm done.
We know.
I'm done with trying to pronounce
All right,
things
so he's
correctly.
got his David Bowie in the harbor.
Yes, he's got his David Bowie makeup on, but he's also got like mop heads on his shoulders.
Yeah. He's got a
like
lot.
a general, but then he has this like it's blonde on the
he
bottom.
bleached his
right?
hair. No, it's like a full hair bleach, and then he took like the top of his head,
right,
and like
then
grabbed
dyed
those 55
He
hairs
looks like a
and
skunk.
dyed it black, but then like curled it and like had it like boop, like a little poof.
Yeah, that's your leader. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you have now I don't know all their names, so what I thought was the one and only girl for
The
a
side
while,
chick,
right?
yeah.
Side chick, right?
Totally
but
makes
side
out
chick
with the
seemed
German teacher.
yes.
German teacher, I think, has a lot
No,
of
Spike
transformation.
makes out with German teacher. The female?
No, the lead guy does before he goes into German class.
And that's
That changes her.
No,
Yeah.
that's not her.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I swear to God, it's not.
Okay, well, I've watched this movie a total of 1 time, so I think I know more
Right.
than you.
No. I'm telling you right now, it's not. And the reason it's not is because there's an entire history. The girl that's in that basement that comes out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Teru?
Yeah, I don't know who she is.
Right. You're thinking that's her, right?
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's what I told myself. I was like, cool.
Because it's like in a world of the 80s, there was a massive amount of redheads, and somehow they're not in this movie.
Yeah.
So when you see one, you're like, hey, there you are.
Oh, wow.
And no, that's not her.
Okay.
Because there's an entire story of Teru that I'll go into when we get there. But, okay. We have girl in red tights who's possibly a man because she seems to stand up and pee at a
Yeah, she
urinal.
can pee.
Yeah, right. She's extremely aggressive to everybody. We have, I like to call him Preppy Breasts.
Preppy breast. Preppy breast, I was like, yeah, that's me. But I also felt like...
Kind of did look like you.
I know. It was like the
Either that or it looked like
weakest-
Dennis from Sunny.
It was like the weakest transformation of like... It seemed like they told all of these characters like, yeah, come dressed up as like punk, different, weird for the time. And then that guy showed up and was like, oh, I forgot the homework. And was like, put on lipstick, always wearing sunglasses, fake pointy boobs like Madonna.
Yeah.
And that's me.
He-
And everyone was
he's
like, yeah, we get it.
Looked
And
like
he
my
was
lunch
oh,
lady
shit,
back in
I
the day.
paid it off. It was half-assed, and I was into it.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's Preppy Breasts.
Nose rings.
Yeah. That now his actual name is Gonzo.
Gonzo.
Which is appropriate, like
Okay,
Muppets,
yeah.
like he's the wild and crazy Muppet. He is like a cross between a caveman and an actual dog.
I legit hated him.
Really?
I thought he was the
He's
worst
so
character
ridiculous.
that's ever existed, and I wanted him to die.
Okay, so Gonzo to me, like I didn't understand it because he's like he's a caveman that kind of acts smart, but then sometimes acts like a dog when he needs to, and also is in blackface for no
Yeah,
reason.
gray face.
Yeah, he's got weirdly cut like lines in the back of his hair,
Yeah.
and wears
It's like different levels of bowl cuts.
yes, and then also wears 2 different size nose rings that like fit within each other as they hang from his nose. Is that correct? Am I missing? Oh,
Yeah.
and mouth guards. Did you say mouth guards already? Yeah, you did.
Yeah, he wears like a
Football mouth or boxing mouth guards.
well, it's
teeth
like
guards.
it's a top and bottom mouth guard
Yeah.
that's connected because he spits it out at one point and it
And
just
it
it
hangs
rests
on the nose
it
ring?
rests on the nose rings, and I was like, that's just disgusting.
Yeah.
and he needs to go home
right.
and look his mother in the eye and apologize.
I'm,
Just say you're sorry.
I'm sorry for the atomic weed
Shave your
I
head and
smoked.
apologize.
Right. We next have I like to call him Rooster. Now Rooster wore like a yellow bald cap with kind of like plumage, like kind of like feather plumage hanging on one side and like a big
It was like
red
one,
spike.
yeah, a unicorn chicken mix.
Right? And he also had like yellow makeup on one half of his face and I guess the makeup artist really, really liked like cracks. Like, because 4 or 5 characters have like makeup that
it's
is like
just, like,
cracks
the, like-
on your face.
Like lightning bolts or cracks. It's like, yes, I love angles. They're so great.
well, it's like a dried up desert that the ground is cracked. That's what it looks like. So he had cracks, and then we have, I call him Long Braid, because he had like a bald cap on, but attached to the bald cap was like a super long braid, and he also had like a Scottish kilt on.
It was like a drag queen that was halfway through getting ready.
And he also seemed a little bit older than the rest of the crew.
Yeah.
And then
I failed high school for 10 years.
And then we have some lesser-known characters that kind of just show up and then disappear and show up again, such as extremely long, hairy pimple guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a guy, I don't have any other distinguishing characteristic about him other than the fact that, like, they placed what I can only assume is, like, moles, right?
Yeah.
Like, but the moles have hair length out of them. Like,
that guy. He had like 3 out of the sides of each side of his face,
Right,
and then
but they
one
were-
coming out of his nose. But the hair was like 4 to 5 inches long, and it was like tiny ponytails.
And it was like at as much strand as it was, like ponytails. Like it was like at least a ½ inch in diameter.
Yeah.
of hair
It was a
coming
lot
out
of
of
hair.
it. It wasn't like it was like, oh, each mole has like 2 or 3
Like,
strands. No, this
he-
is full.
He cut the hair of one of his friends and glued it to his face like, it's cool, it'll be in fashion someday.
That's that like improv your own costume like thing
Yeah.
that you're talking about. Which I'd love to know where somebody was like, yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we'll love it.
Also, we have a girl, another face cracks makeup girl, right?
The German teacher?
No,
Or different
it's
one?
not. It's not. No, because okay,
German teacher's halfway
Germ-
through the film.
Yeah, and it's not her. I'm
Yeah.
telling you. That person is Taru, and Taru doesn't have any makeup other than just like contour or whatever, right? This is another girl that applies makeup in the mirror, the face crack mirror, and then like Spike, the leader, grabs her and makes out with her for one scene, and I don't really quite see her
This is when
ever
she's
again.
putting on like the eyeliner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the German teacher.
No, it's not. It's
when
not.
He makes out with her, and then it shows the book on the shelf, it shows her pearls hanging over it, and then she's in the bathroom doing like an eyeliner thing, and then he pulls her, and you see that half of her face is done in crack makeup. That's the German teacher.
I think they just all look very similar.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So,
So the movie happens, and then it's done.
yeah.
What are your 5 W's?
There's one other, and it's Mohawk androgynous face stitch. That's
Yeah.
like leader look-alike. He looks like the leader because he also has the same
With a
hair.
little bit of Hitler. And
Yeah.
it is 100% a female.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I say androgynous because I
Yeah.
could not tell. Right?
From what I gathered female.
Okay. All right.
So
there are your Cretans.
Yeah.
Right. And it's important to establish them that way because that's how how I describe them as what we're going to call them, because I cannot, the only ones that were identified by name I was able to do are the ones that they said, because everybody on the IMDb mostly doesn't have a picture attached to them, so I could not put 2 and 2 together, couldn't figure it out. So that's your description for the Cretans, and it's extremely important because the Cretans are almost all the deaths in this movie.
Yeah.
So here we go. All right. So it is established that the Cretans were 6 months ago used to be preppy, like honor student people.
Yeah.
Right. And now they're a gang that is basically on motorcycles and kind of just wreaking havoc all over the school.
I would have liked to seen them before.
You want to see that
I
transformation?
want to see what they used to look like.
Right? No, absolutely. Because what we already get, you're just like, oh, that's insane. And you kind of feel like they've always been that way.
Yeah.
Mind you, they are kind of a take an homage to the movie, the 1982 movie, Class of 1984, which gets confusing, right? But, and this movie was originally supposed to be just called Nuke Em High, and then to capitalize on people maybe possibly mistaking it as Class of 1984, they were like, oh, add class of to it. So that's a little bit of
Nuke
history.
Em High doesn't even sound like the other movie, but adding the class of makes it sound like the other movie.
That's right.
Oh my god. Okay.
Right?
Sure.
Hey, when
Great.
it comes to VHS, that could be the
Anything
difference.
goes.
That and the fact that, like, I mean, they're both going to be next to each other on the shelves.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, yeah, let's do it. You know, like, that's got to be the logic.
Live it up.
Yep. Everybody alphabetizes.
Yeah.
So we have also our main characters, Warren and Chrissy. Now, Warren and Chrissy are
high school sweethearts.
High school sweethearts.
We love them.
He's a football star. She's a cheerleader.
He's got a really great
and they're
body.
both virgins. Well, at least she is.
Well, it's not like said, but it's like kind of implied, and they're both like, I want to, like, they legit
They at
say,
least
like,
haven't
I want
done
to
it with
sleep with
each
the
other.
other one, but like, I don't want to pressure the other one into sex.
Right.
So I believe that they are both kind of like air quotes around the word virgin.
Right, but they also seem to have not actually talked about it because then they would realize that both of them want to do it.
Yeah.
You know? So, meanwhile, a couple things are going on. We meet a couple of Warren and Chrissy's friends. They are absolutely pointless. I don't know any of their names.
Yeah.
They kind of fit into their character stereotypes, but also don't go the full realm. Like, you have the one always like curly 80s afro guy that's supposed to be like the class clown. You know, you saw him in Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
You saw him like two prime examples would be like My Bloody Valentine, that curly haired guy, and then Friday the 13th Part 3, the guy who was wearing Jason's mask before Jason got him in the eye.
That's all you.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, I know. But like they're prime examples of like kind of pudgy, curly, afro-haired class clown. Guy, you know, the guy that in a slasher movie would also like pretend that he just got killed in like the first 30 minutes of the movie, and then when he does get killed, people are like, "Cut it out, asshole."
Except that guy never really.
But yeah,
in this film gets killed.
Right, and that's what I'm
we
saying.
We forget about them after like this main party.
Right, they have these like stereotype characters. One's a little slutty, like stuff like that. But then that all gets shoved to the side. Now, I'm curious if that's on purpose as like kind of a red herring, and then it's like, oh no, it's all about the Cretans.
Yeah. Or
that evolved in some way. I'd love to know write these questions down. We're gonna ask Lloyd.
Lloyd.
Lloyd. So we also realized that the Cretans have been purchasing weed that is growing on the outside fence perimeter of the nuclear power plant.
And that area is a restricted access because that's where they store dangerous chemicals.
Right. But
none of this is like hazardous waste.
Well,
safety
it's
thing.
tongue in cheek. Like the guys, as they approach, like one of the guys is actually selling the weed to the Cretans, right? So that they can then sell the weed, right? And are boasting it as like atomic weed, man, right? Which is great. Like, but also this is a movie. It's not taking it serious. Like they are eating their lunch out of
on top of like burbling, gurgling, squirgling, toxic waste. And they're like, "What'd you get? Chicken? I got pastrami on rye."
And their lunch boxes are like film canisters that have been painted yellow and just like painted the words radioactive on it too, right? And yeah, they're pulling out just full like turkey legs and stuff. So like you know. I mean, you should have known by now in this part of the movie that, like, this movie's not taking itself seriously, but it's so ridiculous. You're just like, oh, come on. Like, God, this is why Jersey sucks. So we have a couple things here that are going on. Like I said, the weed is growing in nuclear waste, and it's contaminated. And we have the establishment that everybody should go to this frat house party, right?
It's a college party, so it's cool.
Yeah,
it's
right.
College.
Like, don't you want to sleep with some seniors or something? He says.
No.
Like, I'm like, wait, but you guys are the seniors, right?
College seniors, they're like 21 and 22. It's crazy,
right? Yeah, but so they're like, oh, we got to go to this party, and then the jokester guy is like, oh, I'm gonna buy weed from the Cretans, and
he does.
Right.
And they go to
they buy the atomic weed. Right. Yeah, and then they go to a party. Now this party.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Listen. So, I went to the University of Missouri, which is also known as Mizzou, which is in the exact middle of the state of Missouri.
Was there an 80s nightclub, dance club in your frat house?
we're really known for fraternities and stuff. Animal House is based off of these guys' experience at Mizzou in their frat life. Like, frats can get pretty crazy. So, like, my first experience with, like, a fraternity and sorority party, it was a toga party. It was my freshman year of college. And before we left to go to this party, my friend, in her toga, grabbed the bottle of vodka. It was, like, it wasn't, like, a fun little, like, fifth or, like, a handle. Well, a handle's the big one, right? I don't know. I just drank.
No, a handle is like what I have right here.
Well, what's this?
Oh, that's a that's like a not a liter. Like, yeah, that's that's more than this 750 fluid ounce.
Okay, it's like the big container, like the massive container, 1.75 liters.
There you go.
So it's a giant container. My friend grabs it by the handle, and she does this power stance, like 1 foot forward, 1 foot backward, like backwards. 1 foot forward, 1 foot going backward. Like how Will Smith stands in I Am Legend when he's taking a shower so you don't see his penis.
Okay.
The kind of power stance of like, about to run. She grabs the vodka bottle, stands like that.
Kind of like Atlas holding up the world.
Yes, a little bit, but holding up the vodka. And she holds it up, and she puts it to her mouth, and she chugs.
Okay.
For 10 seconds.
Sure.
Chugged vodka.
I mean,
in that stance for like 10 seconds.
Okay.
And that's what a college party is. It's drinking. It's not the location. But I love her to death. I tweeted her about it today. I was like, remember when you were insane? And that was crazy. She's an adult now, so I won't
Now
like,
it's
name
immortalized on the show.
I know. I was like, I love you, Kelsey. But that's like what college parties are. College parties are like people doing crazy things. It's not going to crazy locations because these people go, they straight up enter like a large nightclub. Not
That's
even
what I'm
like
saying. It's not. Okay,
that's not a frat house.
We're established that it's a frat house, and it even has like
the exterior
a chair,
shot.
Yeah, it
it's
even
like,
has
look,
a chair
we're outside.
going out of a window, just like the establishing shot.
See,
of
that
Animal
could
House.
happen. That could happen.
Well, yeah, that's absolutely could happen. But then we go inside. It is clearly because it has railings. Like there's like a dance floor level versus like a kind of 2 steps up, 3 steps up railing around the area.
This area is like minimum 3 stories tall.
There is like full lighting, full DMX
fog
lighting
machines. The lighting can even lower from the ceiling to touch the ground, as a
we're
joke.
in Vegas Omnia.
Yeah,
it's insane,
it's
right?
like watch out, the lighting's coming down because it's going to touch us on the head and then go right back up. But it's just atmosphere. Like this is too much of a room for a frat party. Like if a frat party had this would be their like multi-story,
the rent on this house
10,000 like square foot gymnasium. Like it's insane.
and
also, like the cost of just the lighting, and then they also have a live band, and I'm sure
the band looks like
the band
they're
kind of
from...
sucks. So I'm sure they also have a DJ to kick the band off because the band I'm sure played from like 8:30 to 9.
The band that the lead singer is Taylor Negron.
What else was he in?
Taylor Negron. He was Fausto in Nothing But Trouble, and he was also he was the guy on the couch.
Oh,
yeah. He was the guy on the couch in Biodome, that was trying to hit on
he's dead
Joey
now,
Lawrence
so
Adams.
that sucks.
Yeah. I think the lead singer looks just
Yeah.
like
Yeah, he
him,
does.
right? But then also they all look like they're like backup dancers on the Mike Myers SNL sketch Sprockets. This is the time on Sprockets when we dance. They look all like that, right? But they're not playing that kind of music. But this party's insane.
Yeah,
right?
party's crazy.
This
they
is
go
where
on.
This is where you get your first set of nudity. Like somebody just rips open somebody's shirt and they're like, that's not cool. And she's like, I'm all right with it.
She's like, whatever, they're good boobs. I'll
Right.
show them off.
So, comedian guy pulls out the atomic weed and forces Warren and Chrissy
it's
to
like-
both inhale.
One girl takes it, and she's like, you gotta be smart to smoke weed. I don't know, she's pretty stupid. But she takes a hit, and she's like, you take one. So Warren takes a hit, and it's like, as he's taking a hit, it glows yellow, which weed
Right.
doesn't glow yellow when you smoke
And
it.
the music's like,
It's like, and he's like, it zooms in on his face, like, whoa, like it like shows what high feels like, but that's not what happens when you're actually getting high.
no.
Spoiler
no.
alert.
Well, no. I mean,
for
with,
getting high.
maybe with dabs. That shit's insane.
Dabs are crazy, but I haven't done those.
Did you
Air
also
quotes.
notice, as this was happening, the girl that was drinking suntan lotion?
Yeah.
What was that?
Well, I think that's just because there's the old like urban legend of you can hide your liquor, especially if it's like
Oh, yeah.
like
No,
a
'cause they did it-
Kahlua-based liquor, you can hide it in your suntan.
They did it on the
container.
Jersey Shore episode
Yeah.
of Sunny, right?
Yeah.
But Charlie was actually drinking
Yeah,
suntan
he actually was.
lotion.
Yeah.
Get your
But
all
like that's the whole thing
"Ugh."
is like, oh, you take a suntan container to the beach, and
Right.
you're like, oh, I'm tanning
But why do you
myself.
need to do that in a
but
safe
she-
environment of
I know.
the frat house?
She was like really going with the theme and legit even like squirted lotion on
like
herself,
that.
but then drank it, and I was like,
Right.
oh, okay, gross.
Right. But
Um,
once again, we're in Troma world. Like, everything's for fun.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like, there's a whole scene we'll get to with the doctor splashing pee in somebody's eyes.
Yeah.
It's things like that that make you, what the hell was that?
Yeah,
And you
you're like, oh,
forget,
fuck.
that the plot is silly and ridiculous because you're having so much fun.
So, they smoke this joint. It's all like, whoa, crazy, wacky, whoa.
Right.
And
So,
they decide to leave because they're like, the joint was gross.
They
It
gotta
was
go see the
terrible.
Fellini
We
screening.
want to go see Fellini. Yeah.
So Katherine Heigl,
Yeah.
she looks just like Katherine Heigl.
She does.
Katherine Heigl goes upstairs to go get her jacket, I guess, right? And she's like, whoa, I don't feel so good.
She's like, I feel crazy. Let
Right.
me touch my boobies.
And, weed makes you horny, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And then Warren comes upstairs, follows behind her, and is like, I feel all right, man, like everything, and then sees her and is like, boing. I think there's even that noise, like, boing, right? And he just jumps on top of her, and they start fucking. Like,
Right.
and when I mean, like, it is, and it's something I noticed also, I'm sure it's in multiple ones like that, but it is something to be said that the sex is very raw. So, yeah, I don't know how else to put it, really. It feels a little dirty. Like, it feels as dirty as the bedroom itself is, if that makes sense. So, yeah, they have sex, and then after that, how do I put it? They have sex, and then the two comedians are watching, and they're like, "Oh yeah, let's keep watching," and then they finish up and they go home and are like, "Call me."
Yeah, their sex was something.
Well, I mean, it already starts out like you think you're gonna see boobies, but like
You
those
kind of, but,
nips.
her nipples were probably half the size of her boobs, which I was like, I know I'm gay and I don't know much, but those seem like a lot.
They weren't like people would normally be like, "Oh, they're like silver dollars." No, they were Olympic gold medals.
Yeah, they were.
of nipples. Like I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah."
A bit extra.
Katherine Heigl.
So they bone, they get caught boning by like the other two dudes, and of
Yeah.
course they tell everyone, but then they both go home for the night, and that's when they have like their freak out.
Right.
So the guy, like, he has this freak out. The film like shows the negative films just to show like, whoa, different, and he
negative
gets, like-
equals radiation.
I know. He gets like a five 5.5 foot long boner
It's a
that's
giant
massive. It's
boner.
like human grows out of his penis, and I was like, okay, work, cool. Destroy me.
It just looked like Adam and Barbara from Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
We're gold.
It was like someone was like below his
We
crotch.
haven't done a Beetlejuice in so
I know.
long.
You got it. That was a good, and that was a legit reference instead of just like some throwaway.
Yeah.
But it was like someone was like standing at his crotch and then stood up with the sheets and was like, I'm a penis. And like, that's kind of what happened. He also like developed like, barnacles, I guess.
Yep.
But then like,
he looked like,
yeah.
a first-year student on Davy Jones's ship.
Yeah. He was like, this is crazy. I'm going through so many body changes.
Yep.
And then he also at one
Bill
point
Turner's son.
it like transitions over to his memory of her boobs, and then he looks down and he starts growing his own
Also,
boobs.
did you notice that they both have like an 8.5 by 11 picture portrait of each other on
They
their
loved
desk?
each other so much.
I mean,
so cute.
it wasn't a normal size. It was like
Yeah,
8.5
it was
by 11,
big.
so that you could see it in a wide shot.
And then inside that picture, they had like an individual picture of them together. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But it was like he grew his own boobs because he was thinking of boobs. And then he's like, and wakes up and everything's normal.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, fine. And then we also like, and then it switches over to the girl and it does the exact same thing, except she, instead of growing a penis, she grows a belly and she's like, I'm pregnant after the first time.
Right.
And like out of her belly button, like,
Which is a very, like, what's interesting is because, like, this is also a take on, like, high school, teenage, and sex and stuff like that. And it's like a joke on the fear of being like, if you have sex, you'll get pregnant.
You'll die.
It's really fun to see that as well. It's like that because there's definitely references to like 50s, 60s, like teenage sex fear movies in this as well. So yeah. There's like a belly. She grows a belly, and there's like a little tail that's coming out of her belly button.
It's like blah, 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 blah. Like
And
it's
she
a little
wakes
black
up
tail,
too.
and she wakes up and she's like, "Whoa!"
Right.
And she's fine. So then like they say like, "Hey, what'd you slip in my drink last night?" But then
Right.
like that's the guys talking, or like, "What was in that weed? It was weird. Last night was crazy."
Right.
And then it switches.
You know
over
what
to
else
the
is
girls.
crazy? Is apparently the entire school like eats Popeye's chicken.
Yeah.
And it's sponsored by
I saw
7-Up.
I was like, okay, cool.
Everybody's like 7-Up
Sponsorship.
and making out with each other. Like, I'm going to make out and then drink 7-Up. That's what we do.
Right?
Yeah, that was weird.
But so, like, the guys are talking, and he's like, last night was crazy. What happened to my weed last night? Blah. And they're like, well, we got the weed from, like, the bad dudes. And then it switches over to the girls, and the girls are like, Saturday night was crazy. Today's Monday.
They're
Why?
like, I know. I
And so
did not
they're
expect a nightclub in that frat house.
But, like, they're not talking about the same day at all. Like, someone
No.
got their timelines mixed up and was like, oh, no, just keep filming.
Just keep
And then
nobody knows what day
And
it
then the
was.
scene just kind of like the movie. This is where like I get so lost from like this point to when the actual evacuation of the school happens. I think there might be a day or two.
Okay, because
you go
and
for
this is something I want to bring up too. You're not alone in feeling lost because what I'll describe to you happens and then seems to be forgotten about. Okay, so
Bathroom.
yeah,
That's all I remember. Bathrooms.
Yeah, Warren goes into a bathroom. No,
A guy's getting beaten up.
no.
No.
Before this, okay.
He
so
goes to an
Spike,
alleyway.
yep. Spike and Long Braid, right, are eating Alka-Seltzer and pretending that Spike is foaming at the mouth to trick this old lady that the only thing that will prevent him from, like, I don't know, biting on his own tongue is if he bites down on something soft.
It's a
like
terribly
her purse.
fake seizure too.
Right?
I was like, this lady
But
does
it's-
not know what seizures
It's
are.
extremely thin too. Like,
Yeah.
like, how about just distract her with the fact that he's compulsing, grab
Yeah.
the purse and run? Like, what's this like? Oh, he needs to bite
And
down
it's
on
like,
something
it's such
soft.
a long scene to where it's like if
Just
he
do it.
needed something, he already would have gotten it. But like he's dead by now if you're trying to do something.
Right? So Long Braid grabs the purse and runs into alley and Spike proceeds to spit the Alka-Seltzer in the old lady's face and then
beats
beat
her
her
up.
to death. I don't know about the death, but like he just wails away
He
on
might
her
as
on the
well
ground.
have because he beat the shit out of her.
Meanwhile, Warren is at home right? And he starts feeling ill and sick. And then when he goes near like appliances, the appliances start kicking on, which there was a hairdryer in the living room that was just laying on the bookshelf and just blowing away papers when he comes near it. And then he seems to mutate into very much like the Toxic Avenger. He has like super strength, right? And then just so happens to be in the same alley as Longbraid and his
he transforms.
And a guy we've never seen before.
Yeah.
Like who has an X on his head instead of like a swastika, you know? And then proceeds to take his fist. Warren takes his fist and jams it down the guy's throat.
Yeah.
Like Longbraid's throat. Right? And you see it. You see the fist go into the mouth and then down the esophagus, and like it bulges, his throat bulges out, and he's dead. And then he throws the other guy up against a wall, and then he's done, I guess, because of super strength. And then Spike sees this happen, attacks him, doesn't really know it's Warren.
Yeah.
But suspects it is. Like, meanwhile, Longbraid was like, that looks like Warren, right? But they don't put it together. They have a fight. Spike and Warren, Super Warren, have a fight. But when Spike gets thrown, do you notice it's very obvious that he is, like, it's a shot that he had
like
just
him
jumped
jumping
off
into a
of a
dumpster.
roof.
He is like, okay, landing. Great, I landed.
Like,
now pretend to fall.
Right, so like they start it with an up like of him like tossing him off screen,
Yeah.
and then the next shot is clearly like, oh, Spike jumped off of a roof,
Yeah.
to make it look like he was he's falling from the same shot. And then that's it. Spike like passes out, and I guess Warren ran away. The next day, Spike doesn't know what happened, but he knows that his gang members are dead. Right. And then after that, Chrissy starts feeling sick, and she goes into the bathroom, and her belly keeps expanding and contracting like she's fully pregnant.
The whole new definition of the word contractions.
And she goes to the bathroom, and
she throws up a tadpole.
like a tadpole, which is supposed to be like a black, like mutant semen, I guess, or a sperm,
Yeah.
a black sperm, kind of. But because what the doctor says next in the next scene,
Well, she's in the
It's
bathroom.
cle-
She
it's a
throws up.
fetus.
She freaks out, and she's like, "Ah!" And then she passes out in the bathroom. So the emergency personnel arrive, the
Right.
ambulance, and they take her to the hospital. They're talking to her mom, and they're like, "Oh, your daughter had a miscarriage." The mom's like, "That's never happened." And then this whole
not
plot
my
is-
daughter. She
yeah.
wouldn't have sex.
Yeah. Then that
Right?
whole plot like vanishes. It's like, okay, bye.
Well, that also doesn't quite matter, because like this is the kind of movie that they start with the doctor and the mom walking down the hallway, right?
Yeah.
And there's two doctors who seem to be pouring pee from one cup into another.
Why wasn't he just holding a cup of someone's pee? Like,
Yeah.
I accepted that. I was like,
Right?
yes, pee in a cup. I get it.
And when the doctor who's talking to the mom is like, your daughter was to term, she's 9 months pregnant, she screams, which startles the doctor with the pee, and he splashes this other extremely tall lurch-looking motherfucker.
Right.
Like, and then they're still in their spot while the camera keeps following them down the hall, but because of that, you're not even paying attention to
Yeah.
what's being said. You're watching. This guy's like blinded by like acidic
Urine.
pee, I guess, and he's bumping in the walls, and his friend is trying to help him out, and that's awesome. What's going on back there? Because that's that level where I'm like, here's this subtle comedy that's there, that's not like blatantly in your face like the next movies, like from the '90s era are. It's stuff in the background, stuff like that. Little throwaways, making fun of MTV, Fellini, things like that this movie is really good at.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it doesn't really come to fruition. But that this is all to back up your point where you're like, I don't remember any of this much, and it's because Warren and his superpowers ability is gone after the scene we just described.
Yeah.
Gone. Doesn't come back in the climax to save the day. Doesn't even like, not even like something where it's like, oh, I'm feeling angry or something. Like, it is gone.
Yeah.
And I would love to ask Lloyd that question. Like, where did that subplot go? Like, you gave him powers, right? Her subplot kind of goes on because it's the fetus that will become the end monster that kills everything, right? So, like, hers came all the way into the climax. His goes nowhere after that. So I would love to know, where did that subplot go, right? Meanwhile, now we're back. We're back at the school, and
the little, like, fishy sperm thing is, like, swimming through the pipes.
Yes.
He gets to the cafeteria and, like, goes up the sink and then starts throwing dishes. And the two ladies in the cafeteria are like, we don't know. We just accepted this job
like,
because
Lordy,
we
Lordy,
needed money.
Another crazy thing here in Tromaville.
And then it all stops, and the fish goes back down in the pipes.
It's a sperm.
It's a sperm.
It's actually a fetus, because if she was the term, what she vomited was a miscarried fetus that's still alive.
That's not how that works, though. But we are in Tromaville. So.
Yes.
Yes. So the fetus then, well, at this point, it's technically just a baby, because it is doing its own thing.
Right.
It goes back through the pipes, and then one of the pipes breaks.
Another broken pipe.
Just like the first broken pipe, and it falls into a vat of, like, toxic water goo.
Yeah,
that's in the
it's
fallout
the same
area.
Nuclear waste barrels that nuclear waste is put in.
But it's in, like, the fallout area. So it's like the area you go to not deal with toxic waste is also toxic waste
But we
storage.
also saw in the beginning opening montage, as two kids went down to try to have sex down there, that nuclear waste is pretty much pouring out of the ceiling into the basement all over there. So you would assume that those barrels of water got some contamination.
But during the joke, it's supposed to be her like, "Ew, gross! You came on me already."
Yeah,
Which I was like,
So meanwhile, Warren has a fight in the bathroom with Spike and another one of the gang members, and Red Tights. Yeah. Red Tights, Red Heels.
Nose ring.
It was Nose Ring, because this is where, Warren pulls the nose ring out of Gonzo's.
He rips it out of his nose, which I was like, yeah, fuck that idiot up.
Right? This is also where Red Tights is peeing at a urinal, right?
Standing up.
Yep, standing up. And he gets into a fight with them, not the principal, but some other teacher who looks more like a police detective than a teacher.
Yeah.
You know, he's got the classic, like, three-piece suit on, you know, and you're like, detective. Yeah. Right? But not.
He walks in and he's like, you all are the bad people. Good kid that doesn't have face paint on, come with me and go to the nurse. So I was like, no, okay, they were all fighting though. So
this, and then the speculation that Warren was also the person in the alley that killed his friends is the motivation for them to take revenge against Warren and Chrissy for the rest of the movie.
Exactly what they do.
Yep.
And that is the rest of the movie, is the revenge.
Did you also notice, okay, so the entire gang is in the principal's office.
Yeah.
Why is there a hockey mask hanging on the principal's wall?
As a subtle reference.
Yeah, extremely subtle.
Yeah.
Also, the principal had like 3 strands of hair.
The principal, I believe, was you from the future in the past.
Oh.
Ew, burn. I'm kidding. Your bald spot's on the exact side of your head.
That's right. Thank you.
Your comb-over's as odd as your bald spot.
God damn it. Now, anybody at the premiere is going to be like, I saw that shit.
The other day, so I hugged my brother's cat. My brother's cat's all white, and I love that cat to death. And I'll always hug it. I'll press it against my face, and I'll make it love me. And then the other day, I was like, oh, no, another hair of Jenkins, the cat's name, got in my hair. And I was like, ow. And then, like, I turned my head to look and be like, where's that hair at? And they were like 8 white, like pure white. Not like, oh, it's a bit dull brown. Like 8 pure white hairs on the side of my head. And I like went to my brother and I was like excited because I think it's cool because I was expected to bald first. And I was like, look, I've got white hair. And he was like, I might like go gray instead of bald. And he was like, I wouldn't put your money on it. You'll probably bald before you go gray. And I was like, I hate my family. Like I got kind of sad. I was like, just let me live my dream.
Right? Okay.
Anywho.
Yeah, so meanwhile, as this is all happening, plant workers over at the nuclear power plant seem to be just falling over, and people are just walking right over their bodies.
They're like, hey, let's go outside for a smoke break. Ah! And like some guy dies, and they're like, "That's expected."
This happens. Have you
people
not
just
seen
keep
the
dying.
other movies?
I like the guy that had like rubber bands around his legs to make sure air didn't get into his uniform. There was also a guy that had like a mask on, but like instead of like some sort of actual securing or duct tape, it was literally masking tape, like taping his hood down.
That was
like,
the guy. That was the guy
no.
that was selling the weed.
Yeah.
Masking tape. And then there was another guy that had like 3M, which is like his Velcro and stuff, like on his helmet. I was like,
I used double stick this time.
So yeah,
I used clear tape
with all the tape that you're talking about. They must have been sponsored by 3M.
It was. Like I'm almost positive they like, let's buy a lot of white and yellow trash bags and then turn them into costumes with tape. And they were like, okay, cool.
Oh yeah,
budget, sure.
So this kind of like them, like they're unfazed, but I guess it's enough to trigger a response where the plant wants to. Meanwhile, damn it. We forgot that Dewey in the beginning of the movie died. We skipped that whole thing.
No,
yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah.
He's long gone. We don't need to
backpedaling. Yeah,
no.
But that's the thing about the water supply was contaminated, but it seems also not to come back. Like
so
it's not the water
supply was contaminated, and then they were like, never mind, we're just too close. Is like what the movie
did. Yeah, because Dewey drinks contaminated water that's like green water, which by the way,
dark green,
and he sees it and then just goes to class.
Like,
I'd
gross.
Immediately be like, "Oh fuck, I gotta go to the nurse or something." But no, he goes to class and then he gets poisoned. He's foaming at the mouth and he jumps out of a window and probably some of the best, other than the monster itself, probably one of the best special effects in the movie. So like I wanted to at least acknowledge it. I'm sad that we completely forgot about this.
So then
but the plant decides like we need to start doing Geiger meter readings and everything across the school, across the town, because there might be contamination, right? But that doesn't actually play into this final thing because that's not how the school gets evacuated. So like it just happens to be kind of more of coincidental, right? So and kind of the only reason to have them exploring and doing the Geiger meter stuff is the fact that we need to establish that the baby fetus monster has grown a bit.
Yeah, but we also need to establish like a little bit of comedy.
Right. So, there's a whole montage of them kind of like using their meters on cheerleaders as and I'm like,
they're cheering and they're like, your feet are toxic.
So
it's like, nah, she just doesn't change her socks.
So and I love it because they'll point the meter at something and then the needles will be like woo woo woo, and like they'll do like a whoa kind of thing.
Yikes.
And then just walk away. Whoa, don't nobody go over there.
Apparently they only sent 3 people to do the Geiger counter.
Right.
And one guy goes into the basement and he's like, weird, nothing's going on down here. And then the needle's like, I'm lying to you.
Well, he's also like,
freaks out.
God, I can't breathe in this mask. And he takes the mask off
Got
and he has a lit cigarette in his mouth.
And so then like, it's the whole comic gimmick of like him being like, weird noises of water gurgling, and like we'll turn around, there's nothing, and he's like, well, I should leave. And then he's like, I can't leave unless I check this out. And then he goes back, and like of course the monster like pops out of like the 10-gallon barrel metal drum and scratches him across the face, but then pulls him in, but not before he drops his mask in and is like trying to pull it out, but then something's pulling on the other side of it, but then he gets his mask in and is like, this is crazy. And it's like a whole comedic bit, but at the same time I'm sitting there and I'm like, why didn't they have this monster get introduced first 15 minutes and then be the monster of the school? Is like what would have been a lot better.
That like people that keep being in the wrong place at the wrong time in the school keep getting taken out?
Yeah. Like a Buffy episode.
Well, because like we said, this movie kind of can't decide what thing it really wants to reference and parody.
True.
Like it really wanted to
True
do the class of 1984 Mad Max style thing, but it also wanted to make fun of high school sex comedies.
Yeah.
But it also wanted to stay true to trauma and nuclear waste and like all the things that were going on in that time period. So it's mashing a whole bunch of things together, and this is the product. And I can't say I'm disappointed. I can't say that at all. But there are scenes like this where you're like, I mean, I get it, but like the monster seems like it should be more of a focus, especially because it started out from the first act and progressed into the pregnancy, and then so it seems like it should be a bigger focus, but somewhere in there. So now Chrissy is kidnapped by Spike and the new redhead that we've been arguing about.
Different redhead.
Taru, right? Now, I can tell you...
Is she also in Avatar?
I like it. Thank
Taru.
you. Yes, sure.
It just sounds like a name that's definitely
right.
Not... Yeah.
So, she's another Mad Max throwaway in latex and bondage kind of clothing. But Taru, right? Here's the history behind the actress here. She was supposed to have a bigger part, right? Because this person comes out of nowhere. You're like, I've never seen her in the gang prior to this. I don't know where she's from. Who the hell is this? And why does she seem to be like hand in hand, like Spike's main girl?
Yeah.
Is because Taru was supposed to have a bigger part, but was involved in a car accident. The other girl, Red Tights, basically took all her lines and took up the slack in the film. And this is why they're in the basement, and Spike is like, let's lead Warren down here. Give him Chrissy's necklace and cut blood from her hand and rub it in there, right? Which she does, but then proceeds to lick the blood herself. I was like,
and rub it all over her body.
Yeah,
which I was like,
right.
Okay.
So, and he said, because he's like, go tell Warren we have Chrissy, and she's like, what if he doesn't believe me? And he's like, give him this necklace, right? So the next scene shows Red Tights, not her, giving the necklace with a line that says, Taru told me to give this to you. Why? Because this girl was involved in an accident and couldn't complete the film. So literally, they were like, you do all her lines, right? So they rewrote it in that moment of being like, which makes it look like Taru just like shirked off the responsibility. Like he was like, yeah, go give this to Warren, and she was like, here, Red Tights, go give this to Warren. And then basically the rest of the Cretans go to the principal's office with an assault rifle, right? And we're not going to talk about it. Sensitive high school subject.
Current. I'll handle this.
Current issues aside.
Okay. Well, okay.
Because we need to describe what
I'm
happens.
very socially aware.
Yes.
So I'll take this one over.
Okay.
I won't talk bad about Jonathan, but he's very much more laxed on his sensitivity to current events.
What are you talking about?
Not current events, but legit on tiptoes. I was like, maybe we only say like little person.
No.
Like what they like say it as. Obviously, okay, so it's the same thing with I recently saw online that someone was like, you shouldn't watch Rocky Horror Picture Show because they say transvestite, and that's not okay. That's not what it is.
Is that not a thing anymore?
Listen, hold on.
Okay.
Yes, you're not supposed to say transvestite anymore.
Did not know
but
that.
Because of Rocky Horror and what it's done, and because that is 100% a sign of the times.
Sure, you can't change it now.
Exactly. So you do Rocky Horror as it is done, but that's because it is what it is for that time period.
How are you going to turn against your own film that helped, help a generation?
Yeah. But it's that same thing of like, during this time, this is what the vernacular was. This is what they expected. This is like kind of what everyone knew the vocabulary as.
Sure.
Like, obviously, there have been times in the past where it's like, that was our day-to-day vocabulary, but now things have changed. And so, like, that's what it is a little bit. Like, I'll say it. I'm a social justice warrior. I'm a little bitch. But, I do like to make sure that everyone is okay and grand. But during the scene, someone pulls out a gun and shoots someone, and it does take place in a high school, which right now, we most recently had a very tragic in Florida high school shooting. And I don't want to focus on that, but what I do want to focus on is right now, those students that survived are taking the country by storm.
Oh, hell
and I want
yeah.
to say they are the most powerful people in our country right now, and they are doing the most amazing thing, and I cannot imagine anyone else to change this country because they're doing
what
they're
we should
doing
have done
10,000%.
30 years ago.
But this is the thing, is 30 years ago, obviously Columbine wasn't 30 years ago, but
No.
during that time, this was still new to us. And even when I was in high school, I legit didn't have to worry about any sort of shootings. But
Yeah,
at
you're
this
a little
point-
younger. Well, no, you should have, because I remember Columbine.
I was only
I remember
yeah.
3 to 4 kids at our own lunch table that basically heard about the whole trench coat mafia and the
Ugh.
So thing, and
bad.
literally started emulating them,
No,
like
that's
with
terrible.
trench coats and
Yeah.
and like basically just dusters,
Yeah.
right?
But I
And,
mean-
and it was one of those things where it was like, you at least looked at the side of your eye and was
Yeah.
like, God, I hope that they're only like looking up to them, and that's as far as
But
it goes. You know?
during my time in high school, your time in high school, I think it was less of a concern to where it's because the bad part about this is the kids that experienced the grade school shooting, Sandy Hook, the kids from
Yeah.
Sandy Hook, if they had basically the kids that experienced Sandy Hook are the exact same age as the kids that just experienced the shooting in Florida. Which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
That it's we've seen a generation go from holy shit, someone just shot up a grade school to
Yeah.
holy shit, someone shot up a high school. And those people are like, yeah, we grew up with this. And at this point, what they're training classes and students right now is basically be trained to expand the time of the shooter instead of letting the shooter just shoot everyone.
Sure.
So if you can make sure that other students get out safe, that's what they're telling our students, which is terrible. That's disgusting. When it's
No,
we just do guns.
I mean, honestly, and I'm sure there's a listener or two out there that is going to be like, nope, I hate what he just said. But honestly, if you are trying to make every bullshit excuse in the world other than just we don't need these
just stop guns.
Yeah.
Literally. I don't care if you're it takes a finger to pull a trigger. It fucking, the finger's the problem.
It takes a trigger for that trigger to be pulled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Machines do not operate unless a human is there to operate it.
Unless it's Maximum Overdrive coming to us
Exactly.
in 2 weeks.
Right, shit. Painted ourselves into a corner with that one. But basically, guns are bad, don't do them. Anyway,
I would
there's
love
gun
somebody
violence.
in one of these Facebook arguments that I'm involved in to be like, but Maximum Overdrive!
Yeah. Basically, in this movie, there is a moment, and luckily it's the only moment of it, of a student with a gun that shoots someone else. And it's not great.
Yeah,
and
they're
it is
holding-
not condoned.
Right.
It is literally the only time that we've put a pause on an episode just to do social justice.
No,
because
absolutely.
literally it needs to be done.
Right.
No one else is going to in this society, and even if it's we
But
talk to one
also,
person.
I need to put
no.
out there that it's not this movie or any other movie before it or after it
No,
that has
yeah.
influenced anybody to pull that trigger. So don't pull that shit with us either. If you want to if you want to comment, we love when you guys comment to us and talk to us, but don't pull that shit.
You know how many video
Movies
games
don't kill people. Nothing
People-
kills people but guns.
Oh my god! You know how many video games and movies that feature swords and crossbows? Oh,
Yeah.
I love Legend of Zelda. You know how in Metroid Prime, I'm not going out with a fucking Phasma blaster or a goddamn sword shitting people down.
I know.
I'm playing that game because I love to play the game. I'm not sitting there this game made me want to kill everyone. No.
Yeah. I'm not going
Never.
through a school hacking people away with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
You know?
Because you're a nerd. Yeah.
right. Like I was like, do I do that or do I say the Crucifix curse from Harry
Well,
Potter?
that also that's also very that's an early 2000s, late 90s mentality of like media, blah.
Because that's what they were pushing back
Yeah.
then. That's what like
in
Reagan and
the
stuff like
80s
that. Yeah.
in the 80s / early 90s was what they were pushing was Satanic Panic.
Yeah. I mean, look at this film.
Yeah.
Like,
Really.
in a world where the bad guys spend more time on their makeup than us.
Yeah. So then, in this whole movie, they kidnap the principal, and they're like, "Where's the panic button for like
Right,
toxic
because
badness?"
they want the school to be evacuated because these are considerate.
They're like, "Get everyone
School
off so you can target
terrorists.
one person."
Right.
Like,
All
okay.
they want is destruction, mass destruction, property destruction, and then revenge on for the death of one of their own. So that's actually kind of legitimate.
Yeah.
It's like because at the end of the day, inside they're still honor students.
So we get eventually the necklace gets handed off to Warren. He runs inside and immediately somehow he finds Katherine Heigl.
Yeah.
He
Right?
immediately finds her. They're in the basement, and the girl, the random redhead, they all have this like kind of like showdown. I don't really remember
Well,
what
okay,
happens. It's like
so he
blah,
goes-
blah, blah,
So,
blah.
yeah.
It's like what eventually.
Well,
Like,
but that's the whole movie.
more or
The
less, yeah.
editing of this movie, I forgot to mention it earlier, is it's like you get half a fraction of a second shot sometimes.
Yeah.
They're like, here's 2 black policemen. Okay, bye.
yeah.
And you're like, why were they
Huh,
important?
what?
Yeah. That happens a lot. So he's holding her hostage, and he's like, let's perform some surgery, shall we, Taru? Right? And he's like, should I cut off her fingers? No. How about I cut off her, let's perform some minor surgery on her nipples. And I'm like, sir,
and
that'll
pulls
be a
a-
major surgery.
A full saw out. The girl's like, I've got a saw,
It's a
and she
handsaw.
like,
It's a
yeah,
handsaw.
it's a handsaw, and she legit is like, I'm putting it on the nipple now. I'm gonna start pulling back on the nipple, and then outside of the the big drum, the big metal drum of toxic waste, pops like the bad D.
Love this monster. Love it.
It's a really good monster.
It's really good. And fun fact, the monster itself, you never see a full shot of the monster because none of it was actually, it was never a fully complete costume. It's like, here's a head, here's some arms, and here's some tentacles, but we never made, stuff for the person's torso or anything.
yeah, and it's very.
But it works. It feels like Alien.
Well, it's Cloverfield should take notes.
Oh, yeah. Well, they should take a lot of notes.
Yeah, Cloverfield should look at everything else everyone has ever
we
done.
actually
always.
didn't hate on it like we thought we were going to. In the
Oh, I
last
hate on it.
shorties.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, we said we were going to discuss it.
Oh, we did. We did.
Yeah.
That'll be a different shorty. That'll be like a specific.
I'll do the whole
thing.
damn movie on an
Oh
episode.
yeah.
You want to do all 3?
I just got 100% hard.
Okay.
Just the most recent. The other 2 are actually decent
Okay.
for what they are.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, usually, this is why people have to sit through this one to get to the other 2. Usually, we go for the first one, no matter if it's good or bad, so that we can
Yeah,
get
true.
get you up to speed. So, yes, the monster comes out of the barrel. He's fully grown. He's oozing and dripping in goo, and he has porcupine skulls. Quills all over him, and Warren screams, and they turn around, and boom, the monster plunges a fist right through the skull of Taru. Right?
That was probably my most satisfying kill, and I legitimately wanted all of the Cretans to be killed
Which not
exactly
all of them do.
like that. Yeah, they
That's
don't all
interesting,
die,
too.
and it
Red-
really bummed me
Red
out.
Tights doesn't die. She's on the motorcycle of the guy who gets his head ripped off, but she doesn't die. You know? There's a couple people I'm like, what happened? What happened to him? So,
yeah,
but it doesn't really matter. But
but it's fine. We don't care.
and, because we get a lot of satisfying kills in these last 10 minutes here.
Yeah.
Right? So basically, Spike is got a revolver, and he's firing at the monster, and it's not working. Chrissy and Warren have run off, and they decide to hide in a because still they're running into other Cretans on motorcycles that are running down the halls, so they can't really make it to an exit point.
But at the same time, like, there are a lot of exit points.
Yeah.
In a high school.
Oh,
and
yeah.
there are, like, 4 other people on motorcycles driving around destroying everything.
Well, maybe they're chained up like they used to do back in my day. All exits except for one were like
I
chained.
thought you meant the people.
Oh,
I was
no.
like, what?
No. So they decide to hide in a science room. Now, earlier in the movie...
They're not chained up because everyone just
I know,
evacuated.
just...
But also, everyone... So during the evacuation of this...
Mm-hmm.
So early in the movie, they kidnap the principal. They're like, what's the evacuation procedure? They evacuate, and everyone's running out of the school. So during this evacuation process, we see all high school students evacuate. We also see a dog. We see...
There's a baby in a woman's arms.
Yeah, we see a full adult lady with a baby in her arms. We see legitimate children running out of the high school.
Did you see the wide shot of the full school with the nuclear power plant in the back, and then one guy like rolls over the top unnecessarily over the station wagon?
And then it's also like people are like, oh no, you're stepping on me, like as mass panic to get out. But then we see shots of the interior of the school, and it's like no one's there.
Yeah.
So it's not like there was mass panic.
Yeah.
But it was also like, bah.
So they decide to hide in a science class, which, if you were paying attention to the establishing scene that they did earlier in the movie, the comedian kid and Warren are like, look at this cool laser that like we found that the science teacher just got in, and oh, be careful with that laser. If you get it near nuclear isotopes, it's gonna like cause a giant explosion. You're like, that's gonna come back, which like we know it's leading up to that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the monster first Preppy Breasts comes, and Preppy Breasts gets his face just scratched and ripped off, like one eyeball's hanging out.
Yeah.
Right? And then Gonzo, or Caveman,
he gets a full tentacle through the back of his head out of the front of his eye.
Well, basically the reason why he even gets caught, right? So Preppy Breast pretty much got ripped off his motorcycle, right?
Yeah.
But Gonzo stops his motorcycle, comes over and is like, Preppy Breast, no! And is howling like a dog, and then proceeds to lick his face like a dog, right? In mourning, I guess. And then while he's sad and howling, the monster comes up behind him, and a tentacle slithers up, punctures the back of his skull, and pops out his eyeball. Dead. Loving it, right? And then monster, I guess, is like, I gotta go back and tuck back inside this door and wait for the next motorcycle to come, which is Rooster driving it and Red Tights, and they drive by. And he seems to catch him
rips
mid-drive.
off Rooster's head.
He has
He's like,
to
gotcha.
he had to have been driving at least 30 miles an hour, right? It still catches him. Motorcycle just is like, boom, paused, and just rips off his head. And then we don't know what happens to Red Tights.
Yeah, Red Tights is like, uh-oh.
So Spike decides he's not done with his revenge with Warren, right? Even though he's seen the porcupine quill monster.
But Spike has already, like, gotten his hand, like, completely shattered by porcupine monster.
Oh, yeah.
He was using his right hand to shoot porcupine monster, but then porcupine monster was like, no! And broke every bone in his hand. It's like, it's a bloody hand.
Right.
So now
also,
Spike is using
on
his
his
left
stomach,
hand.
there's
It like
sort of
scratched his
burn.
belly button.
I
Spike
didn't see
also
the
had
burn.
a really good body.
Right. And meanwhile, Spike, the leader, piece of trivia, he was just a random background extra or a crew member or something, and they found out he was like one of the only people that knew how to ride a bicycle.
Oh.
So they were like, guess what? You're now the main bad guy.
You're a lead. Yay. And he was like, all right,
I wish it
cool.
was that easy. So Spike is like, I'm not done with my revenge against Warren, knows exactly somehow where they went into the science room, follows them in there, and then holds them at gunpoint, but the monster comes up behind him and proceeds to grab him, pull him over to him, and then Porcupine just shoot quills into his face, kind of like Critters.
Yeah.
And then he's just dead. He just passes out. And we assume he's dead. Meanwhile, now the monster is like kind of, I wish it would have said mama, because that would have brought it full circle.
Right? I thought it was going to be a full like, oh, you're like the people that birthed me, I won't hurt you at all.
Or at least her.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. But then it kind of
it's like misunderstood, you think, kind of, kind of like the alien hybrid in Alien Resurrection. They won't hurt Sigourney Weaver. I was expecting something like that. But I guess we don't even get to that point. Because Warren is like, I'm going to grab this laser and, Chrissy, get out of there. And he like lasers her. And then the film is like, we got to go all negative because we're talking about radiation again. And the film kind of stays in a negative format for like a minute or two. Chrissy and Warren run out and they run into the plant manager, who is like, there ain't no leak. That's a false alarm in there. I'm going to go in there.
I legit, as this was happening, I was like, kick him down the stairs. I was like,
Right?
He's fat. He'll be fine.
Bounce.
Like, I was so mad. I hated that guy.
They run into him. They're like, get out of here. You don't know what's in there. It's fucking crazy. And he's like, whatever. There's nothing in there. He goes into the science room. The monster is still like developing from a negative. And
photography.
And then the entire place explodes.
Yeah.
Right? It collapses, the school collapses, and in a really great ending, there's a like school announcement over the PA, which somehow is still working.
Yeah.
And they're like, attention until further notice, Tromaville High School will be closed for remodeling, right? And everybody's just like, yes, fuck yeah.
Woo!
The Chrissy,
college
right?
is as crazy as this. It's going to be great.
Right?
It's
Which
like
is a
what
great
they say.
moment because like they've seen mass destruction and they're just like, yay, school's out,
Woo! No science.
Chrissy and Warren kiss. And you start seeing the bulldozers come in, and then underneath the rubble, there's like a fetus monster again.
Part 2.
Right? And that's it, right?
Yep.
Like I said, there's not even a line of Warren being like, by the way, I probably shouldn't have sex with anybody because I got these like weird mutant powers,
My sperm is
Right?
exactly 3 inches long.
Well, what would have been interesting, like I said, Mama or something, like they don't know that they basically just killed their own child.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but like, it was a shitty child.
Yeah, I know, but like I think it would have been more traumatic and a little bit more on the horror side.
Traumatic?
Oh, traumatic.
Oh.
Yeah, it would have been a little bit more if it on the horror side if they would have been like, this is your child. Somehow I don't know how you would have found that out. But fucking loved it.
Yeah.
I loved
great.
it. Oh, it's so much fun.
Don't eat during
What's
it.
your W's? 'Cause my W's are
basically whenever, but like I just said,
Right.
don't eat during it. It's a little bit gross.
as
Little
all
bit
trauma
gross.
stuff.
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
So if you're like, well, I'll just like have it with a meal. Maybe like
yeah.
don't. Because I love eating while watching things. It's like it gives me something to do, so then I'm not just staring at a screen. But like, avoid the food. Just have a drink.
You want to have like a green Troma tropical punch drink?
Gross. It's like thick and soupy.
Ooh.
Ugh, gross.
It's like a kale shake.
That's a smoothie.
No, but just seriously, I would have this at a viewing party, especially if it was like an 80s punk type viewing party. Absolutely. I would screen this live. There's so much I would do with this.
Yeah.
My W's are whenever, wherever, and not the Shakira song.
Wherever we're meant to be together, I'll be there and you'll be here. And that's the deal, my dear.
2 breaking out in songs.
Yeah.
Add that to the list. So, also a little bit of trivia that we have here. When Dewey, from the beginning, lands on the pavement in the opening scene, the first man to walk up to him is a shocked bearded man played by Troma co-founder and producer Michael Hurst in his only on-screen performance ever.
Oh.
Yes. And then Yeah, that was the other thing. I this other piece of trivia I already said. So we're good here. Yeah. Okay. Other than that, you got any alternate titles for this?
Not Chud.
Not Chud.
There was another one that I was like, not this. Oh my gosh.
I would call it We Don't Need No Radiation.
We don't need no radiation.
Right?
Oh, I remember. A massive misunderstanding on what radiation does to you.
Nice.
A movie that actually probably would give you cancer, but it just instead mutates things. You think you're going to get cancer? Think again. That's a tagline for that movie.
I wish right now I knew the like what water is H2O, the chemical bond for this, because if it's something that rhymes,
dihydron. Oh my gosh.
You know this, huh?
Dihydron oxide? Something like that.
So
hydrogen, it's dihydron. Yeah, it's H2O, but it's dihydron oxide or something like that.
I was trying to do that, something there. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
H2O, oh my god!
Okay, so just to finish this out,
I'm Jonathan!
We thought that this movie was a total bomb, but some people apparently didn't. So it's time for Give Me 5.
And they're like, woo!
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Give Me 5. So I couldn't really find anything that wasn't like... everybody is just as self-aware as this film is, right, when it comes to reviewing it, right? There wasn't anybody that thought it was a masterpiece that didn't already know that it was supposed to be a B movie. So it was very hard. So I only found 2 just to make sure that I could do the bit. Here you go. This is 5 out of 5 stars on Amazon by a Mick V. Nicholas. Title is Nuke Em High. Written in 2008. He says, there are few things in this world that are essential to the well-being of mankind. The making of this film is one of those things. 5 stars. It's a little bit, what is it, hyperbole? Or a hyperbole?
Hyperbole.
Oh, shit. You're right.
Hyperbole.
Add that to the list of things I can't say right. The last thing, I had to dig deep into Rotten Tomatoes reviews, written 2015 by Steve H. Just writes, the greatest movie of all time.
Yeah.
Thank you for those. Like I said, not ridiculous, like we normally get. So that is it for us. Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you stay tuned tomorrow for Return to Nuke Em High Volume 1, and then the next day after that, Return to Nuke Em High Volume 2.
Yay.
Okay? So, make sure you respond to us. I'd rather people not, unless they're feeling really deep about the whole gun thing. Don't comment on that.
Yeah, you can comment on it.
Yeah,
just talk to me.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
That's fine. But any comments, we welcome any and all comments.
Yeah.
Like, we are a free Facebook.
Guns bad.
Sure. But all that can be done, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at Bombs Away Show. You can also visit our website. Hopefully I have it up by the time this comes out, www.bombsawayshow.com. It has all the clips from this movie and every movie from every episode we've done in the past, and just a shitload of things, honestly, right?
Shits and loads.
Other than that, you can also email us, contact@bombsawayshow.com. You can write to us, look up the Frida Cinema in Santa Ana, and you can actually write us a physical letter if you want to,
right.
At the Frida's address, care of the Frida. Make sure you put Bombs Away on the top of it so they know where it's going, and they don't open it before we do. That's important. And that's it. Oh, what a great episode. I had a lot of fun. Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you. Thank you to Troma for 40 years of entertainment.
Yeah.
Thank you to Lloyd Kaufman for making this amazing film. And we really, really look forward to the next 2. So, with that being said, my name is Jonathan.
I'm not toxic waste.
And There's like nothing in this film that I can remember a tagline from.
My joint.
I'm gonna have the PTA on my ass for the next 6 years. No, that wasn't good enough.
Chemical.
Yeah, sure. It's an atomic high.
Greetings from Tromaville. I'm Lloyd Kaufman, president of Troma Entertainment and creator of the Toxic Avenger. You know, folks, when the Troma team and I are not making those great movies like Tromeo and Juliet and Return to Nuke Em High Volumes 1 and 2, we like to attend the amazing screenings at the Frida Cinema, because the Frida Cinema is the best programming, the best movies, the best way to spend a couple of hours in the entire world. And remember, folks, Toxie reminds you to go to the FridaCinema.org and push that donation button and look at all those great shows. There was a Troma month. There was even a Troma month. Oh my gosh, the humanity.
This has been a production of Big Bulb Entertainment, executive produced by Jonathan Young. For more media and information, visit us at www.bigbulbentertainment.com. Big Bulb, what's your bright idea?